Classes of advertising. So advertising for marriage, advertising for a politician, advertising their newborn child, kind of a thing. You can think of it as that.
I think it's very interesting also that they had this element of you had to listen in order to contribute. Right? And that was the tax that you had to pay. Right? And that was the price of entry. I wonder if they didn't have that, would they have made as successful?
It could be, I think, often the case, human nature, you just want to contribute your thing, then listen to yourself. Would you listen to other people?
Right.
It's almost like a file sharing protocol. Like this, where you have to download whatever you upload. You have to give out whatever you get. It's the inverse. Right? You have to look at whatever you're giving away.
Right.
So,
I think the key thing is to create these aggregation points. It's not completely peer-to-peer. It has to be, at least, even if the group sizes are small, it should be a place where people get together. That's when you have those social effects and those network effects. Where people, it's not just one person to another person or something. You see things on television or even in radio 30, 40 years back, people had a fancy to write to the radio station requesting for a song. Right? And there was a village that became very famous for just writing to them every day. Or even on television these days, right, where people SMS saying, those aggregation points. So that's the point. It can't be just peer-to-peer, you and your friends. It has to be something larger.
I think it's like the channel you want to listen to, you want to contribute. It can't be about
The other dimension I want to add to this whole UGC thing, if you see UGC behavior online,
it should be
it is sort of provided an avenue for other professionals who have not made it into the mainstream media. Even another layer, I would say. It's not like everybody is publishing, right? Only a very small percentage of blogs get it. But some of them wouldn't have been part of the mainstream media, right? If not for the UGC options that are available right now. So we could think of these kinds of parallels in the mobile world. The local artists actually just publishing their songs, or the local comedians talking about it. All those people who have 300, 400 readers of their blogs. Right? I mean, what's that equivalent on the mobile device, for example, right? The local musicians, the local artists, the local painters. If you just look at this channel.
One thing I've sometimes wondered about, there are websites, of course, that do revenue sharing on user-generated content. So on sites like Rever and Meta Cafe, once you get a certain number of views of your video, they pay you for views because they're getting advertising revenue based on that. So could you actually have an open channel where the top uploads over the phone actually get paid back based on how popular their content is, depending on what traffic they drive in the broader sense? And it could be one immediate pathway for musicians. You wouldn't need to sign a label. I mean, you start getting paid this year, immediately boost onto the global stage.
But the key thing there, I think, is to create those sort of aggregation points. Those points that people can recall and go to.
I think there's also an interesting interplay with the size of the community there. Because if you have a super small village, who needs the phone to figure out what your neighbor is up to? You probably hear him singing next door. So, but as you get to the size of Bangalore, it also gets too unfamiliar because you're not going to build as much of a tiny community. So I think getting the right. There's probably a sweet spot where this kind of thing makes sense. I think to connect just one extra link from your current network.
User-generated content. Usually, you don't know, you cannot judge the quality of it.
So, filtering, one interesting piece about this, though, is that over the phone, when people are listening to content, we're thinking of providing a button to skip the rest of this entry, and there you can actually measure how much people have observed, as opposed to web pages, let's say, where you don't know how much they've read. So, you could, you can start to rank content by how least frequently it is skipped. One metric.
What are the thoughts on the minutes you're doing?
Absolutely. So I think that is the key. So if you think that it's a rupee per minute for a phone call, and let's say less than 100 rupees for certain kinds of movie tickets, You know, you have to be as entertaining or interesting as, you know, listening to this phone as you would be like going to a full-fledged movie, right? So I think that if you're targeting kind of the entertainment angle, I think that is challenging from a sustainability perspective. So that's why I think you have to narrow down on the ad. That's why I was looking for input actually. I mean, there's actually a company in California that's doing a hip-hop generated thing, user-generated audio. That particular genre may not translate.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting, yeah.
I'm just thinking about the audio.
Yeah, yeah.
The camera.
Maybe you could, download the songs or something, so you wouldn't have to stream them constantly. Because streaming is more expensive over the voice probably than getting the song.
Yeah, I mean, to bring up the other point, I mean, I also think if you do things in conjunction with the phone companies, you can be much more creative on your billing model if you want to. Right? You can imagine things where it's a toll-free number to dial in, and then if they want to listen to their third song, you could get charged them on a per-song basis, right? Via some little API relationship with carriers rather than charging them on a per minute basis.
What if you think beyond the operators?
Well, the operators are
constrained to it.
No. I mean, not necessarily. If you want to make money, right, then the operators are constrained. They're willing to pay to have people call you, and you can think about other ways you might.
If you move out of the call center media to a WiMAX media, which is still mobile enabled, we are now going out of the clutches of operators. Let me give you an example. 25 years ago, Minitel in France was extremely successful. They used a lot of information, there was a lot of participation. What did Minitel work on? Exactly what SMS is working on. Free bandwidth in the television airway. That is exactly what is happening in SMS. The SMS is exactly a very identical tool to do exactly what Minitel did, but companies are unable to do it because of the clutches of to some extent.
Yeah.
Now, if you move away from the operator paradigm, which can only happen if you're not part of the GSM, the towered and centered block.